In this video, we'll uncover the most valuable wheat pennies you should be on the lookout for. We'll break down what makes these coins so special, how much they're worth in today's market, and what you need to know to sell them successfully at auction. Our first coin today is one that's seen quite a rise in interest over recent years, the 1956 Lincoln Wheat Penny. Specifically, we'll be focusing on the large date version of this coin, without any mint mark, and in a condition that many might dismiss as dirty or uncleaned. But believe me, this penny can be a gem in the world of coin collecting, even in less than perfect shape. Now, let's dive into the details of this coin. First, a little historical context. The Lincoln Wheat Penny was produced by the United States Mint from 1909 to 1958. This coin has been a staple in American coinage for decades, and even though it's no longer in circulation, it continues to hold a place in the hearts of collectors. The 1956 penny was struck during the tail end of the Wheat Penny series, right before it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959. While the 1956 Wheat Penny might seem like just another common coin, it has features that make it stand out. The large date variety, where the digits of the year appear spaced further apart, was produced alongside the standard small date version. However, in terms of rarity and value, it's the large date version that's captured the attention of many collectors. But what makes this particular coin truly unique is the absence of a mint mark. The absence of a mint mark on this 1956 penny indicates that it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which was one of the primary facilities for coin production in the United States. In contrast, other pennies from this year may bear a D mint mark for the Denver Mint or an S mint mark for the San Francisco Mint, but this one has none at all. As a result, this unmarked version is more valuable and appealing to collectors seeking a more authentic piece of numismatic history. Let's talk about the condition. Now, you might look at this penny and think, it's dirty. Why would anyone want this? Well, don't be so quick to judge. Coins that have been naturally tarnished or have a certain blackened appearance often develop a unique character that collectors are willing to pay a premium for. The idea is that these coins are genuine, aged pieces of history that haven't been tampered with or altered. In fact, some collectors find these coins to be even more valuable because of their natural wear, as it adds to their historical charm. Now, you might wonder how much this coin could go for at auction, especially in its dirty condition. While most 1956 pennies in this state would typically be valued anywhere from $5,000 in regular market transactions, a 1956 large date penny without a mint mark in good but tarnished condition can fetch anywhere from $17,000, depending on its exact state of preservation and the current demand from collectors. Some have even seen higher bids at auction, particularly if the coin has a certain character, or if it's being sold in a lot of other rare coins. Collectors are particularly drawn to coins like these due to their rarity. The 1956 large date without a mint mark is part of a group of pennies that are slowly disappearing from circulation, making them more sought after by numismatists. The appeal here is also tied to the fact that Lincoln Wheat pennies have long been one of the most collected series in American coinage. Regarding errors, while the 1956 large date penny without a mint mark isn't particularly famous for striking errors, collectors do seek out any subtle variations, including misaligned dies, doubled dies, or other imperfections that could increase the coin's value. For instance, some 1956 pennies were struck with slight double die errors in the date or lettering, which could make them even more valuable. In summary, while the 1956 Lincoln Wheat Penny in dirty condition may seem like an unremarkable coin at first glance, it's actually a valuable piece with growing interest in today's market. Its historical significance, paired with the absence of a mint mark and its unique state of preservation, makes it a compelling addition to any collection. Next up, we have the 1946 Lincoln Wheat Penny. This is another fascinating coin with historical context, valuable features, and, once again, an example of how even worn, rusty coins can be desirable to collectors. Let's rewind for a moment. The 1946 Lincoln Wheat Penny was produced just after World War II, a period of recovery and rebuilding in the United States. By this time, the penny had been in circulation for over 30 years, and the design had remained largely unchanged since its introduction. However, 1946 marked a year of transition, with the country shifting from wartime economy to a more peaceful period. As with the 1956 penny, the 1946 wheat penny is known for its large date variety. The large date variety features digits that are noticeably larger and more spaced out compared to the small date version. In this particular coin, the presence of the D mint mark indicates that it was produced at the Denver Mint, one of the most well-known mints in the United States now. When it comes to condition, this coin is another example of why circulated and even rusty coins are still in demand. This 1946 penny has clearly seen its fair share of wear and tear, evidenced by the rust and discoloration on its surface. But don't be discouraged by its appearance. Coins like these have a history to tell, and they're more valuable than you might think. Despite its condition, the 1946 Lincoln Wheat Penny with a D mint mark remains highly sought after by collectors, especially those focused on acquiring coins with historical significance. The presence of the mint mark and the large date variety sets this coin apart from other pennies from the same year. Collectors are always looking for coins that tell a story, coins that were in circulation during a pivotal time in American history. Regarding the market value of this penny, rust and wear aside, this coin can fetch prices between $55,000 at auction, depending on its specific condition and the interest of bidders at any given time. In exceptional cases, where a rusted penny has some unique feature or additional error, the value could be higher. While rust may not seem like a desirable feature, it's important to remember that coins like these are often kept in collections due to their rarity, not just their condition. If you have a 1946 penny with a D mint mark and some rust, you're holding a piece of history, and that's something collectors will always appreciate. Similar to the 1956 large date penny, the 1946 Lincoln Wheat penny is one that sparks interest due to subtle errors, such as double dies, misaligned strikes, and other imperfections. The value of these errors can skyrocket as collectors pay top dollar for coins that deviate from the norm. In fact, even the slightest die variation in this coin could lead to a higher auction price. Next up, we have the 1947 wheat penny, specifically the one with a large date and an S mint mark. This coin is particularly intriguing not just for its unique characteristics, but also for its role in the numismatic world. The wheat penny series was issued by the U.S. Mint from 1909 to 1958, and it features the famous image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse. These coins are widely sought after by collectors for their historical significance, but the 1947, especially with the large date and mint mark variations, truly stands out. The 1947 wheat penny was minted during the post-World War II era, a time of economic recovery and change in the United States. The U.S. economy had been slowly recovering from the Great Depression, and the late 40s marked a period of growth in manufacturing and technological advancements. The S mint mark indicates that this particular coin was struck in San Francisco, which was one of the primary minting locations for coins during this time. The wheat penny itself, introduced in 1909 to commemorate Lincoln's centennial birth anniversary, was designed by Victor David Brenner. On the obverse, we see the bust of Abraham Lincoln, while the reverse features 2 stalks of wheat, hence the name wheat penny. This design was used on all pennies minted between 1909 and 1958. While the mintage for the 1947 wheat penny was relatively high, with over 1 billion coins struck, the version with the S mint mark and the large date variant is considered rarer. The 1947 large date is known for its unique size and placement, making it easy to differentiate from the small date variety. The condition of the coin also plays a crucial role in its value. Most 1947 pennies that are found today are in circulated condition, which means they typically fetch high auction prices. However, when you find one in a relatively pristine or near mint state, especially one with the large date, it can be worth much more. Now, let's talk about what really interests collectors: its value in today's auction market. The 1947 wheat penny with the S mint mark and large date can range in value from as little as $2,000 for a well-worn, circulated version to as much as $7,000 for one in excellent or uncirculated condition. But here's where things get really interesting. Some extremely rare or unique versions of this penny, particularly those with error features or in extraordinary condition, have fetched prices well above this range at major auctions. Let's say you have a 1947 large date S mint mark coin that's in blackened or heavily toned condition, almost giving it a mysterious, dirty look. While this may sound like a downside, it can actually increase the value in some cases due to the coin's rarity in such a state. The patina or tarnish can be desirable to certain collectors who prefer more unique or distressed-looking coins. In the right market conditions, this could push its auction price into the hundreds, even over $10,000 depending on the specifics of its condition. When it comes to errors, one interesting aspect to note is the way the coin was struck. Sometimes coins like the 1947 wheat penny can have minor striking errors or defects, such as misaligned dies, off-center strikes, or even doubled die varieties. Collectors love these imperfections because they make the coin unique, adding value to a piece. Coins with striking issues can often be valued higher because they are seen as more unusual or rare. There's also a strong collector interest in the 1947 wheat penny because of its historical significance and the broad appeal of the wheat penny series. This coin appeals to both novice and experienced collectors alike. In addition, many numismatists focus on collecting coins based on mint marks, which makes the 1947 S mint mark version particularly appealing. Moving on to our next coin, we have the 1958 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny. This coin, with a damaged date and no mint mark, is another example of a rare variant that has intrigued collectors and auction houses for years. The 1958 penny marks the final year of the wheat penny series, making it especially significant in terms of its place in U.S. numismatic history. The 1958 wheat penny is historically notable as it was the last year the wheat design was used before the change to the memorial design, which came in 1959. The U.S. Mint decided to replace the wheat stalks with the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, marking the end of the wheat penny era. The 1958 penny was struck in Philadelphia, as indicated by the absence of a mint mark. This is a key identifying feature for collectors who are specifically interested in this year's coins. The design of the wheat penny remained consistent throughout its run, with Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse and the two stalks of wheat on the reverse. However, this particular 1958 coin stands out due to the damaged date error. Though the 1958 wheat penny had a relatively high mintage, the version with the damaged date and no mint mark is less commonly seen in circulation. The damaged date is an error that occurred during the striking process, where the digits of the year 1958 were either poorly struck, damaged, or faded. This kind of error makes the coin especially desirable to collectors who specialize in misprints and minting mistakes. Coins with a damaged date tend to be rarer than their normal counterparts, and this gives them a unique place in the market. Even though the mintage of the 1958 penny was in the hundreds of millions, the ones with such errors are harder to come by in good condition, which increases their value in today's auction market. Now, let's talk about how much this damaged 1958 wheat penny is worth. While a typical, uncirculated 1958 penny might fetch only a few cents to a couple of dollars, one with a damaged date can be much more valuable. Depending on the severity and visibility of the damage, this coin could sell anywhere from $50 to $200 or more at auction. The coin's value will be largely influenced by the degree of the damage and how well it has been preserved. For example, if the date is still legible but shows clear signs of damage, it could easily attract the attention of a high-end collector. Moreover, a color-changed 1958 penny, where the coin has undergone some kind of chemical reaction leading to a shift in its patina or color, can also fetch a premium. A copper penny that turns colors, whether it's a deep, reddish tone or a more tarnished, blackened look, may appeal to collectors looking for more unique examples. Error coins like the damaged date are highly sought after by collectors. A damaged date can result from a variety of reasons, such as a worn-out die, foreign objects on the die, or a misaligned die during the striking process. These errors add uniqueness to the coin, making it more collectible and increasing its value. Collectors interested in these kinds of coins often focus on acquiring a variety of errors from different years and mints, which is why the 1958 damage date is such an exciting find. Next up, the 1948 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark is one of those remarkable coins that's highly sought after by collectors. Despite its appearance as a simple penny, this coin has a rich history and holds a strong place in the heart of the coin collecting community. Let's take a closer look at why this particular wheat penny is so valuable today. In 1948, the United States was in the midst of post-World War II recovery. The country was rebuilding its economy, and the mint was busy producing coins to meet the demands of a growing population. The 1948 Lincoln wheat penny was part of the coinage series that celebrated the 150th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth, which took place in 1847. 1809. Abraham Lincoln's portrait has adorned the obverse of the penny since 1909, following the 100th anniversary of his birth, designed by Victor David Brenner. The reverse of the coin features two stalks of wheat, symbolizing the nation's agricultural strength. The wheat penny was issued from 1909 to 1958, making it one of the most iconic coins in U.S. history. 1948 was a notable year because the mint had fully recovered from the constraints of wartime production and was now able to produce coins at full capacity. Although this year's issue doesn't have any major historical events tied to it, the fact that the coin was released during a time of economic transition and growth makes it an important piece in the broader story of American numismatics. The 1948 Lincoln wheat penny was produced in large quantities, with more than 1 billion pennies minted that year across multiple mints. However, it's the lack of a mint mark on the coin that sets it apart. In 1948, the Philadelphia Mint was the only one producing coins for the wheat penny series, and therefore, the absence of a mint mark is simply a result of the fact that Philadelphia didn't use a mint mark at that time. Despite the high mintage numbers, the scarcity of the 1948 wheat penny in pristine condition and its appeal to collectors of historical coins makes it valuable. On the obverse, the 1948 Lincoln wheat penny features the bust of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. This design was groundbreaking at the time, as it was the first time a U.S. president's portrait appeared on the coinage. Lincoln is depicted in a profile view, facing left, with the words, "Liberty and the year 1948" inscribed around the rim. The coin is struck in a copper alloy, which gives it a reddish-brown appearance when in good condition. Over time, copper coins can tarnish, turning them a darker brown or even a greenish hue, but a well-maintained 1948 wheat penny will often retain a warm, reddish color. Now, let's get to the juicy part, the value. A 1948 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark in circulated condition typically has a value of around $9,000 depending on its wear and tear. However, when in pristine, uncirculated condition, its value can skyrocket, reaching as much as $11,500 or more in some cases. The most valuable 1948 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark is one that has been graded by a reputable organization like the professional coin grading service PCGS Coins, with grades of MS65 and higher, can fetch significant prices in auctions. For example, a perfectly preserved specimen in MS67 has been known to sell for upwards of $15,000 due to its incredible condition and rarity. Another factor driving the coin's value is its popularity among collectors. The wheat penny series is one of the most collected U.S. coins, and the 1948 penny without a mint mark has a particular allure due to its connection to the 1940s era. Collectors who focus on Lincoln pennies, wartime coinage, or post-World War II series often seek out this coin to complete their collections. There are also some minor error varieties that can be found with the 1948 wheat penny without a mint mark, including die cracks and small design flaws. Although these are relatively rare, they can significantly increase the coin's value. If you ever come across a 1948 wheat penny with an unusual characteristic, it's worth getting it inspected by a professional to see if it might be an error variety. Collectors and investors alike are drawn to coins like the 1948 Lincoln wheat penny for their historical significance, design, and rarity in higher grades. So whether you're a beginner or an advanced collector, this coin is a must-have for your collection. Next up, the 1940 Abraham Lincoln. Wheat penny with the large date and the S mint mark is another standout coin in the series, and it has its own unique qualities that make it both rare and valuable. Let's dive into the details of this coin and understand why it holds such high auction value. 1940 was a year of increasing tension for the United States, as the country was inching closer to entering World War II. The world was facing dramatic shifts, and the economy was beginning to feel the effects of global conflict. In the midst of this, the U.S. Mint continued to produce coins for circulation, including the Lincoln Wheat Penny. The 1940 series was important for its distinctive design features and for marking the final years of the Wheat Penny before the transition to the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959. The Wheat Penny, like the 1940 issue, reflects a time of American prosperity and agricultural strength. This particular coin, with its large date and S mint mark, is also a reminder of the meticulous craftsmanship that went into each strike. The 1940 Lincoln Wheat Penny was struck at 3 different mints: Philadelphia without a mint mark, Denver with a D mint mark, and San Francisco with an S mint mark. The San Francisco Mint produced a total of 28 million, or 855,000 pennies in 1940, making it the second most produced version of the coin that year. What sets the 1940 San Francisco Wheat Penny apart is the large date variety. The large date version has numerals that appear larger than those of the small date variety, which was also struck that year. The large date variety is much rarer, and coins in mint condition are highly prized by collectors. The S mint mark, located just beneath the date, indicates that the coin was struck at the San Francisco Mint. This mint mark is key in identifying this specific variety of the 1940 Lincoln Wheat Penny, and it's highly sought after by collectors due to its relative scarcity compared to the Philadelphia and Denver versions. In circulated condition, the 1940 Lincoln Wheat Penny with the large date and S mint mark is typically valued between $33,000. However, in higher grades, such as MS 65 or above, the price can climb significantly. A 1940 S Lincoln Penny in MS 67 condition has been known to sell for $42,000 or more, depending on its exact features and level of preservation. The coin's value is driven by several factors. First, the rarity of the large date variety plays a significant role. While the total mintage of 1940 S pennies is relatively high, the large date is much rarer, and finding one in uncirculated or near mint condition is quite difficult. Secondly, the 1940 Lincoln Wheat Penny with the S mint mark is part of the popular Wheat Penny series, which is highly collectible. It's a key piece for any advanced collector focusing on Lincoln pennies or mint mark varieties. This coin also holds a particular appeal to collectors of wartime and pre-World War II coinage. Additionally, the San Francisco Mint's output in 1940 was not as abundant as Philadelphia's or Denver's, which makes the 1940 S variety even more desirable. Coins with error markings, die cracks, or other anomalies are especially coveted and can sell for a premium in the market. Next up, the 1929 Wheat Penny. Without a mint mark is a coin that holds significant value for collectors, both for its historical context and rarity. Despite the fact that it isn't as high profile as some of the rarer pennies in the Lincoln series, such as the 1909 SVDB, it still remains an iconic piece. The Wheat Penny itself, first minted in 1909, features a design that has captivated numismatists for over a century. The 1929 Lincoln Wheat Penny was minted during a time of economic turbulence in the United States. The country was in the throes of the Roaring Twenties, a period marked by significant economic growth, but also on the brink of the Great Depression. The penny itself symbolizes an era where industrial growth and changing social structures were reshaping America. It was minted primarily at the Philadelphia Mint, and the absence of a mint mark on this particular coin suggests that it was produced there. The 1929 Wheat Penny is particularly notable for its large date variety. The date on these coins is slightly larger than those of the small date variety, and collectors highly covet this distinction. Coins from 1929 are still considered one of the more affordable, mass-produced years in the Wheat Penny series, but this does not diminish their historical and numismatic significance. In 1929, the United States was experiencing an economic boom that was quickly followed by the crash of the stock market in October of that same year. The country was still enjoying the fruits of post-World War I economic growth, and coins like the 1929 wheat penny were circulated widely during this time. However, the sudden shift into the Great Depression meant that many coins minted in this era were lost to time, making surviving examples of the 1929 penny relatively rare. The total mintage for the 1929 penny was quite large compared to other years in the series, with over 200 million coins produced at the Philadelphia Mint. However, despite the large mintage, most coins from this period were circulated heavily, and only a small percentage of them remain in mint condition. The mintage without a mint mark is particularly important for collectors, as it means the coin was produced at the Philadelphia Mint and not any of the branch mints in Denver or San Francisco. This gives the coin a unique status, as Philadelphia was the original home of the United States Mint. The value of a 1929 Lincoln wheat penny, even in dirty or heavily worn condition, has seen a rise in interest among collectors. Coins that have been well circulated, like those found in dirtier conditions, still hold value because of their historical significance and rarity. While a coin in dirty condition may not fetch the highest price at auction, collectors will pay significant sums for examples that are well preserved or show distinct characteristics. In today's auction market, a 1929 large date penny without a mint mark in a very worn condition can range anywhere from $36,000 depending on the level of wear and the specific circumstances of the auction. However, coins in better condition, or those that show unique errors or characteristics, can easily push the price upwards to $40,000 or more, with some exceptional pieces fetching much higher values at prestigious numismatic auctions. In mint condition, uncirculated examples of the 1929 penny without a mint mark can be worth as much as $50,000 or more, depending on the level of preservation. On the higher end, an MS-65 Mint State 65 or higher coin could fetch several $100,000 or even more in auctions, though these coins are exceedingly rare and much harder to come by. As mentioned, the most significant design feature of the 1929 penny is the portrait of Abraham Lincoln, who was the 16th President of the United States and a key figure in the nation's history. The design by Victor David Brenner is well loved by collectors for its depiction of Lincoln in profile. It captures the somber, serious nature of Lincoln during the nation's Civil War years, making the coin not just a piece of currency, but a tribute to an important historical figure. The 1929 large date variety is especially interesting to collectors due to the difference in the size of the digits in the date. The larger 9 and 2 in the date are visually distinct, and this characteristic often serves as a marker for identifying the large date variety. This variant is often a topic of discussion among collectors and those who study the intricacies of U.S. coinage. Next up, we have the 1956 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny, which also features the large date variety. What makes this coin even more fascinating is that it carries a D-mint mark, indicating that it was produced at the Denver Mint. The 1956 wheat penny, unlike the 1929 version, is often sought after by collectors for its higher potential value in certain conditions, especially if the coin is in black, dirty condition or exhibits other interesting features. By 1956, the design of the Lincoln wheat penny had been in circulation for nearly 5 decades, yet it was still highly popular. The coin was produced during a period of relative prosperity in the United States, as the country had just emerged from the post-World War II economic boom. The 1950s were characterized by high consumer demand, suburban growth, and technological innovation, and the penny was an integral part of everyday transactions. The design of the 1956 wheat penny is essentially the same as that of earlier years, featuring the famous image of Abraham Lincoln by Victor David Brenner. However, what makes the 1956 penny stand out among collectors is its relatively large production, combined with its black, dirty condition. The black color on the coin often results from oxidation, dirt accumulation, or storage conditions over time. While some might view this as a negative, collectors often seek out coins with unusual or distinct appearances. The total mintage of the 1956 wheat penny was over 1 billion coins, making it one of the most widely produced coins in the series. Of those billions, a substantial portion was minted in Denver, which is why the D-mint mark is such an important factor in evaluating the coin's value. The high mintage of this year means that finding examples in pristine, uncirculated condition is relatively common. However, the real value comes from finding one of these pennies in black, dirty, or aged condition, as this adds a layer of mystery and appeal to the coin. In terms of value, the 1956 D wheat penny in a black, dirty condition is a coin that has garnered attention in recent years. While this specific variety of the penny does not have as much intrinsic value as some other rarer Lincoln pennies, it still attracts interest due to its unique appearance and the sheer volume of production. For pennies in black, dirty condition, prices at auction can range from $5,000 depending on the extent of the dirt and the overall condition of the coin. However, when a 1956 D wheat penny is found in better, near-mint condition, it can be worth significantly more. Coins with high-grade conditions or unique errors can sell for up to $10,000 or more. In auction settings, high-end, mint-state examples can push these coins into the higher value ranges, particularly if they're in excellent uncirculated condition. As with other Lincoln wheat pennies, the design features on the 1956 D penny are significant. The obverse showcases the classic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, while the reverse features two stalks of wheat. Collectors are particularly interested in the quality of the design, as coins with sharper, well-defined details can command higher prices. The large date variety is another notable characteristic of the 1956 penny. In these coins, the size of the digits in the date is slightly larger than in the small date variety, making them a focal point for collectors. Some believe that coins with larger dates may have been produced to accommodate faster die production, although the exact reasons for the change remain uncertain. Next up, the 1950 Lincoln wheat penny. This coin is particularly fascinating due to its large date design and the fact that it was minted in San Francisco, as denoted by the S mint mark. First, let's discuss the historical context behind this coin. In 1950, the United States was in the midst of the post-World economic boom. The country had been transitioning from wartime rationing to a consumer-driven economy. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series, which started in 1909, was a tribute to President Abraham Lincoln. This coin was designed by the famous sculptor Victor David Brenner and became iconic for its portrayal of the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse side. The 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny is part of a large series of coins minted from 1909 until 1958. What makes this particular coin noteworthy is that it features a large date, which was the result of a minting error that many collectors find appealing. The mint produced these coins with the date numerals slightly larger than the previous years, and this subtle change would make the 1950 large date penny stand out in collectors' eyes. Now, the San Francisco Mint produced this coin with the S mint mark, which indicates that the coin was minted at the San Francisco Mint facility. The 1950 S penny is a part of the larger series of wheat pennies, but due to the smaller mintage compared to some other years, it is considered relatively rare and valuable. In terms of mintage, approximately 118,950 S pennies were struck. But when we look at the overall condition of coins that have survived, the numbers dwindle dramatically. Over time, many of these coins became worn, damaged, or otherwise unfit for collectors. This is where the value starts to emerge. Before we dive into the value, let's examine the design features of this coin, because they hold great importance in determining its worth. On the obverse, we see the iconic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, created by Victor David Brenner. This side of the coin features the inscription, "In God, we trust liberty," and the date. 1950. Lincoln's profile is highly detailed, showcasing the precision of Brenner's design. One of the defining features of this coin is the inscription that reads, "E pluribus unum," placed above Lincoln's head, which signifies, "Out of many one," the national motto. On the reverse, we have the wheat ears, with the words 1 cent at the center and United States of America around the perimeter. This design was symbolic of the prosperity of the United States, as wheat represented abundance and agricultural strength. Now, let's talk about the value of this particular coin, which is where things get exciting. The market for rare coins is always fluctuating, But based on recent auction data, a 1950s Lincoln wheat penny in average circulation condition can fetch around $6,000. However, the value skyrockets when we examine the high-grade examples, coins in uncirculated or near-mint condition. Especially those with a large date design have seen auction prices ranging from $8,000. In some rare cases with exceptional eye appeal and minimal wear, it can even go as high as $10,000 or more. But there's more to this coin's value. Condition is key. As we see in the world of rare coins, certain characteristics like being in a dirty color condition can impact its valuation. Speaking of condition, it's important to understand that dirty or toned coins can sometimes be more valuable than their pristine counterparts, depending on the degree of their condition and any special characteristics they might carry. The 1950s Lincoln wheat penny, despite being in a less than ideal state, may still possess intrinsic value due to its rarity, unique features, and collectors' interest in these unusual characteristics. Error coins, whether they be misstruck off-center or featuring unusual discoloration, often attract significant attention from collectors. This is true for the 1950s penny, especially for those who are looking for examples of unusual toning or dirty coloration, as these traits can make the coin even rarer. A well-toned coin, for example, can command higher prices due to its unique appearance.